If you haven't applied for a real ID yet, the clock is ticking. The deadline to get one is in 2 weeks.
And we've been getting a lot of questions about how these IDs work, especially as we get closer to that deadline, and who is required to get one. Sarah Calloway joins us in the studio to verify.
The deadline to get a real ID is May 7th. If you haven't applied for one yet, you may be wondering, why do I need to get one? A real ID is an upgraded version of a driver's license, except it has a star in the upper right-hand corner. Virginians are technically not required to get one. However, without one, you won't be able to board domestic flights or access certain federal buildings, military bases, and nuclear facilities. That's unless you have another federally accepted form of identification, such as a passport or a military ID. And that brings us to our main question. 13 News Now viewer Janice reached out to ask if active duty or retired military are required to get the real ID. According to the Virginia DMV, military IDs for active duty, retired military, and dependents can be used instead of a real ID. That's because they are considered compliant with the requirements you must meet in order to get a real ID. So we can verify no. Active duty, retired military, and dependents do not need to get a real ID in Virginia. Again, Virginia does not require residents to get a real ID. And if you choose not to get one, the next time you renew your license, instead of a star in the upper right-hand corner, will be text that says federal limits apply. In order to get a real ID, you must apply in person at the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles and provide proof of identity, legal presence, and residency. Once again, the deadline is May 7th. With your Verify, I'm Sarah Calloway.
Since 2018, the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles says it has issued more than 4 million real IDs. That's nearly 60% of all active driver's licenses and IDs in Virginia. If you have any other questions for the Verify team, just email verify@13newsnow.com. We'll work to get you answers.